topic for today is the source control. Using GitHub, Bitbucket is pretty much same thing. That's fine if you don't have any experience or haven't heard about it before, it's okay. That's why we're here today, to know a little bit about the source control using GitHub, okay? You have seen the GitHub when if you're looking for some, if you're searching online, trying to find out some solutions. Sometimes also GitHub documentation comes up, right? Sometimes you see those, if you are searching for code or something, you can see GitHub page as well, right? So, and I'll explain the basics, and also we'll see some demo, and also if you want to use GitHub, what are the things you need to do. And also I have a documentation, which is usually this document is for the data science class. They usually use GitHub, but it's going to be same as it's going to give you the concept of GitHub and how to get started. Okay, so I'm trying to locate that document. So this is going to give you the very basics. What is GitHub, how to set up, and if you see why GitHub in data science, etc., ignore those because this document I created for data science course, but the concept it's same. So you don't have to do any coding or anything, but it's going to give you the concept of controlling your source code or keeping the versions of your source code in the repository. It's the same concept. There are some basic commands that we're going to go through, and then you can try to see if you can set up your repository from your side. Okay, this is just too many things here. I'm not going to go through everything, but I'll let you guys probably read through later on, and it has each and every steps, step 1 to all the way to the last point where you push your code to the repository. Okay, so I'll explain the concept from high level, and then we'll look at different things that you can do. Okay, and for this we're going to also use that open source GitHub open source repository. So here I have created a sample repository, and I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar about this github.com, right? This is basically the free version of, or public version of, the GitHub. You can also have the private version, which is the licensed version, which is more secured, that usually people use for different organizations. And then there is also a similar platform called Bitbucket. So Bitbucket uses the same concept and also the similar kind of platform as GitHub uses. It's a cloud-based platform. Usually Bitbucket is a licensed product. So the same company as, I don't know if you guys are familiar about Jira. It's a project management tool, Jira. As the same company, they also have Bitbucket in the platform. But GitHub it has two different versions. One, you can have an enterprise version, which is private, and then you can have a public version, which is, you can play around, create your open repositories, and if you want to maintain, if you want to share it with the public, you can do it, or if you want to keep it private, you can also do that. Okay, so that's just the platform. And then this document that I have created, this will actually use the public version, so you can play around and try to create your repository, and you can start using it if you want to. Okay, so the idea is the version control system, right? So so the idea is same, which is basically your source control system versioning. We at Colaberry, we use one of the tools called Basecamp. This is where we maintain. We can also maintain the source control, and also we use that for project management purpose. It has different components, but right now we mainly use it for project management, to manage different tickets, to manage different projects, etc., etc. But if you heard about Jira, which is the same as the project management tool, there are tons of other companies in the market. You probably heard about some of those. but GitHub, Bitbucket, they uses a similar kind of concept. Okay. Also in this documentation, I have this picture here for this how the source control works, right? The Git workflow diagram, how you commit that, how your code goes from your local repository to all the way to the master production branch, and how it you know maintains different versions in the repository. Okay, you can take a look when you have time later. I'll share this document after the session. You can also find a lot of other online resources to understand, and you can watch some YouTube videos. This is very important to understand if you're looking for a job or you are already at the job. You probably have already used it, some sort of other tools, but version control was always there and it will be always there. It's just a different tool, but if you understand the concept, that's what the key point here. Okay, so let's start some. There will be some other synonymous word that I'll be using, and I'll try to give you the explanation for those words. So feel free to ask question if you have anything in your mind, we can discuss related to this topic. But version control is nothing but keeping the versions of your source system, right? Source code, keeping different versions of your source code. Now, what could be your source code? It could be an application, could be database objects, it could be even just documents, different kind of documents, right? Now we can break it down into many different pieces, right? In application, if you think about application code, it can have many other components, right? It can have the server side. It can be something like, just your load balancer or web or front end, I would say front end, and security layer, a lot of different things related to the applications, right? But you can break it down into many different pieces depending on what technology you are using, what type of servers you are using. If it is a cloud, if it is an on-prem, then this will also depend, right? If it is a cloud, let's say AWS or Azure, then there will be different services that you are using on those service providers. Okay, I'll just keep a note: cloud or on-prem. Based on the cloud, if cloud, then services involved from the cloud technology. Okay, so basically when I say services, are you using the services like the storage service or the analytical service? There are different kind of services provided by different the cloud providers, right? So many different components, but the main thing is to keep the versions. So let's say if you have 5 developers in the team. Now everybody is working on different pieces, right? So let's say your responsibility as a data warehouse ETL or data engineer, right? Your responsibility is create code to integrate data from external APIs, right? And then the data in the database, create store proc or views to access the data from reporting platform. So this is just like a flow, right? If you think about the data in and out flow, you have data coming in, you are storing the data, and then this data needs to get out from the system, right? So your system means your data warehouse. Now you are going to get this data out from the system. That means you are going to display this data in some platform. It could be just a simple plain report. It could be your reporting platform like Tableau or Power BI or Click, right? So in that case, let's say you are trying to get this data from Power BI platform, then you need to either write some custom SQL or create some store procs or views to be able to retrieve this data from the database. So there is an basically it's ETL is happening, and then you are also writing code to display the data. So it is part of the data engineering role. Now, this is your responsibility, right? Developer 1. And then there is another developer 2. That person is working similar kind of thing, but for other components, okay? So let's say you are working on customer data, and this developer 2 is working on product or sales data, right? So it could be various other things. Now, as a joint development environment, right? Or you can say it's a team of 5 where everybody is contributing in different pieces. So you want to combine all this into one single solution, because the report that is being created, it uses both the customer data and also it uses the product and sales data. Now, all this code that you are writing, now this resides in your local computer, your work computer, that computer that the organization has given to you, right? Now, how do you make sure this goes into one single place? The way you make sure it is going into one single place is you create a central repository, okay? To combine code from developer 1 and developer 2, you need to make sure you have single repository of the source code. Okay. Now, where do you want to store that? How? You can use, I would say, how or tool or technologies, okay? Or where? I would say where. You can use, for example, TFS. It's from Microsoft. This is Team Foundation Server. It's one of the very old platform. It's still around. People are using it nowadays still. And then you have a GitHub, Git, same thing. And you have Bitbucket. You can use source. There is also something called code commit from AWS. You can use code commit. There are many other tools in the market. I just named 3 of them. You can definitely do a Google search. You will see at least 50 different companies out there. They offer the similar kind of technologies. Okay, but the concept is here, which is the version control system, right? To combine the code from dev 1 and dev 2, or maybe dev 3, dev 4, dev 5, depending on whatever the things they are working on, you need to make sure you have single repository of the source code. That means you have a platform. So in this case, we're thinking, let's say we have GitHub. For now, we're using open source, but when you're going to be working for the organization, they will have the enterprise version. Okay, GitHub enterprise version. It will be licensed. There will be security keys and all these things. So you will have to go through the security credentials and all those whenever you're going to set up for the first time. Okay, so you'll have these different things that you need to take care of. But initially, you need to create the repository. Okay, so to be able to create the repository, you can follow many different approaches. But if it is for the organization, they will already create that as part of the licensing when they buy the product. Okay, when they buy the tool, they will have those people who will set this up for them. Okay, but once you have license and enterprise version, you can always create multiple repositories for different let's say your organization have one enterprise license, different team is using the same product. Okay, the same concept. If you have an enterprise version of SQL Server, for example, then there could be 50 different people using that same SQL Server. It's the same concept here. Okay, as long as you have the license, there could be for 50 people, for 100 people, whatever the capacity it has. Okay, so now there are a few different things you have to keep in mind when you do the source control. How do you manage it, right? So there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. These are just like keywords that you have to understand what are they. Okay, so and also in this document, I have some of these explained, which I'll share this after the session. But I'll explain some of these things. Okay, only few different things you have to keep in mind. As long as you understand them, you can find out how it works. Okay, so you have something called branching, you have something called merging. Okay, so this is like the core concept. And then when you are branching or you are merging, there will be some other concepts come in, how to manage this branching and merging. But I'll explain what is branching. So branching is when you create a branch, feature branch or local branch from the main repository to extend the code or make changes in the existing code. Okay, let's say you have a stored proc, you wanted to make some change. So this is where you need to take the copy of the existing store proc and then make changes to that store proc, right? So because let's say your store proc is giving or doing some sort of calculations to display the last 10 years profit and loss for a given company. Now you want to add more details in that store proc, that you want to also see the regional breakdown of the sales and the profit and the cost, etc. So that's an enhancement to an existing store proc. So that means you need to get the latest version from the wherever it is stored, right? So it could be stored in the database, it could be stored in the source control system, but usually when you create the store proc in SQL Server, let's say I'm going to open a SQL Server Management Studio, and then we'll explain. So let's say you have the store proc in the database, and then you want to make sure that is the latest copy that you are storing in the repository. So the database storage and the repository storage is two different things. It's a completely separate platform. You understand that, right? So basically, you're storing your code, including your database object, into somewhere else. So that database object will not have the actual data. It's only going to have the code itself, the store proc or views or the table, the create table, those kind of commands is going to be stored. Okay, so the idea is if something is broken or something is lost, you should be able to revert the entire code base, your entire application, by using the source code that you have in the repository, if you understand that part. So basically, let's say you have an application, something gone really wrong, and your application is completely down. Some code is broken, something has happened. Now the idea is to keep the code base into a repository in a safe place where you can take the entire code base and you can revert whatever has happened by running the code base that you have. Let's say you have 10 tables in the database. Somebody accidentally dropped the table in SQL Server. What is the current way you can retrieve that table? Only option you have is to take the backup. If you are doing a backup, daily backup from the database, but if the table is already dropped and there is no backup from yesterday, then you won't be able to retrieve that because it's gone, right? But what if you have the complete code base, your table schema and everything? Now you can recreate that table from the table schema that you have in the repository, and then you can run your ETL process to reload those data. Okay, so that means even though your database table is dropped, you can recreate it quickly by accessing the database object in the repository and recreate them anytime. So that's the idea. So that's just an example, but that's where you keep the repository just to manage this kind of situation. Okay, so you have a store proc, you wanted to make some changes. That means you want to take the main branch. So basically what you need to do for that, you need to copy the recent changes from the repository and then start modifying the store proc based on the requirements, if that makes sense. Okay, now what is merging? So merging is basically when you are done with your changes and ready to push the change into the main repository. Okay, so here's the keyword, push. So you have two different things, two different concepts. One is you have push and then you have pull. Okay, push means deploying or I would say deploy, that's fine. Deploying your code to the repo, which is your target, and then pull is getting the code from the repo, right? So basically push is going to be to the repo, pull is going to be from the repo. Okay, it's a simple words. The word itself says push and pull. Basically, you're pushing something which is going out to the repository from your local. Pull is going to be in to your local from the repository. Okay, this is very commonly used words when you use the version control system. Doesn't matter what platform it is, what tool you are using, it's always the same concept. Okay, now you have few other things that you have to keep in mind. Commit. Okay, so commit is when you are ready to push your code, you need to commit your changes to the repository. So basically the way it works is you need to run some commands to commit the changes. That means you're done with your changes, you are ready to push it. So it usually happens before pushing the code. Okay, so and also you need to do something called peer review. Okay, so peer review is someone who manages the repo and review the code from the team before it can be merged into the main repository. Okay, if that makes sense. And there is also a few other concept called pull request, which is going to be when you create a pull request, then your review is going to be done. Okay, and now there are 4 or 5 basic things, usually steps to pull the code, merge the
Boy. No, yo
push and push and merge the code. Okay, first thing I'll explain this, and also if you guys want to follow and do with me, I would say you can do this. Here, go to this website github.com, and you can create a free profile just now using your email address. I'm sending this in the chat window. Chats. Where did it go? Here. So you can go and create your profile. There you just need to provide your email address, and then I can show you how to pull down the repository. Okay, this is an empty repository, but I will add the document here. That way you should be able to clone it. Okay, I'll explain what this means. But if you create your first step is the creating the profile. Here in the document also it will say how to create. No coding necessary to create a repository. To complete this tutorial, you will need a GitHub account and internet access. You don't need to know how to code. Use the command line or install Git. The version control software GitHub is built on. If you're already familiar, then Git Bash terminal. Okay. You also probably need to install Git Bash. So here you can just Google it. You will find. I'm going to send you a link. 1 second. You need to, depending on your computer, if you're using Git Bash, if you're using Windows, then you want to do the Windows. If not, then if you're Mac or Linux, you need to use depending on your operating system. Okay, so here this is for Windows. You can download this 34-bit or 32 or 64-bit based on the operating system. So I have it will take you to this page and you can install this Git. So basically Git, you will need this for So here git bash or git GUI, you will need this to run the commands to be able to do a git pull or push, this kind of operations if you are uh, doing something like that. Here you will see this is a graphical user interface where you can open existing repository, create new repository or clone existing repository. But I'm going to use this command line here. I was just testing it before the class. So I'm going to use the command line. So if you want to do that, you need to use this, you need to have this tool. So I would suggest first thing, go ahead and create a GitHub profile. You just need to provide your email address and password, and then use the second link to download it for Windows. If you are on Mac or other operating system, you can definitely do other operating system as well. And then you can start cloning your repository and do all the operations you need. Okay. Excuse me. So this is the repository that I have created. Um, Here I have few other repositories. For example, I think most of them are public. But if I go to repositories, I created a repository for DS, Data Science Bootcamp, Python, etc., etc. But this is for data warehouse and ETL demo, and this is a public. And it doesn't have much thing. It's just going to be the interface I'm showing you from the GitHub repository. I think if you go to this link, you should be able to open it without even having your profile. So it will show you, because I made it public. So you should be able to look into these different things that I have. I don't think I have yeah, there's some documentation that I created a long time ago. So you can look into this. What does this command means? What is a different? Yeah, same links that I have added everything in this. So here you can pull this document. I can also share this in the chat window. I don't know if it will take everything, but yeah. So you can actually go to that link and you can download this document, this class documentation.txt. Okay. I don't know if you're able to go and see. Did anybody try?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Are you able to download this?
Correct. Yes.
I think at this.
Okay. Yeah, you should be, because it's a public page, so you should be able to download this
Yes,
easily.
I'm there. DWETL demo
Yes.
right there, but I don't know where to.
Yeah, you can download this class
Class
documentation.
documentation. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you can download that if you want to. Yeah. So you can actually download the entire thing, and that's what I'm going to show you, how you can clone that. So you can either manually download this, or you can also do it from the command line. Okay, so for example, if you do, we can. Yeah, you can actually download this entire folder using this option, download zip file, or you can also run some commands. So I'm going to show you how to do that from command line. So this is basically the platform. And then once you have this this repository that I have created, once I make any changes, push anything or pull anything from here and there, it will be, everything will be visible. So I don't have to manually do anything. I can manage this platform. Let's say everybody in this class is adding a new file, and then how you are going to share it with each other. You don't have to email them, or you don't have to um, you know, send it as an attachment or somehow other way of sending. You can simply just give them this repository link, and they can come and download these changes and anything that needs to be done. Now this is an open source, but usually for the organization, it will be a licensed product, and it's not going to be public, it's going to be private. So nobody can outside the organization won't be able to access that. For now, I made it public. You can see this is public. You won't be able to access this if it is private. Okay, for that you would need some token, and also either way, either you need the username and password or some security token that you need to use to be able to pull it down. Okay, so for now it's public, so you can download this, you can take a look. I don't think I have anything important here. It's just yeah, this is the document actually I was talking about. Getting started with GitHub. This is already here in the documentation, so you can use that as your a reference if you want to. Okay, this is just a Word document. It cannot preview, but you can download it from the page. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Now moving on here, how to manage this repository. Okay, first thing is you need a profile to be created, and then you need to have that tool installed, the GitHub, Git Bash, the tool. So I sent you the link, right? So this is where you can go ahead and install this Git, that which is the same as your GitHub, Git Bash. It uses the same technology in the backend. Okay, and then if you are familiar or if you're comfortable using command lines, in that case you can use Git Bash. So once you install Git, then it will come with this interface called Git Bash. It's this command line interface, CLI. So you can use this Git Bash CLI to do that. And I'm not going to go detail in the writing the commands, but I'm here to explain the concepts. Okay, you can, I think in one of the documents that I have in here is also going to, I don't know if I have that document, but I can give you those basic commands that I'm going to write, and then you can just use those. Okay, first thing is you need to create a folder in your local computer where you want to start your repository. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I have this folder that I'm going to create. New folder. Class demo. Okay, so this is the folder I created. Right now it's empty. Yeah. Okay, so first thing is I need to pull down the latest code. So I'm assuming this is a latest code base, right? For now it doesn't have much thing, right? So I'm going to move this over. It doesn't have much thing, but usually in real world it will have a lot of codes in here. Okay, even if you go just try to see any of the repositories here, there are thousands of repositories in the if you go to just search by repositories, you will find many open source repositories, right? So for example, explore repositories, QGIS system, for example, right? You can see a lot of codes here, and you can try to make sense out of it. What is this is doing? A lot of different codes in there. This is, for example, looks like some sort of configuration file. You can see this is some Debian code. Here's some Docker configuration. A lot of things here, some shell scripting looks like. So you can see some of the existing documentation here, some of the Python script. You can take a look what it is doing. Allow GPU memory, some Python codes and functions here. You can take a look. But this is an open platform, right? You can use some open a code that people have contributed to this platform. Okay, so this is where I created some sample repository just for demonstration purpose, and we also use that for data science class as well. But this is where you need to your central repository, you need to pull down the latest. Okay, so if you want to do this programmatically, then you can write some, not programmatically, but using this command line. Okay, so you have to first create a folder where you want to pull down your code, right? So this is the code, this is the folder I created. I want to pull down the code here from the repository. Okay, so for that I need to navigate to that folder. Okay, so where that folder located? So I have to go to my C drive and then try to see where is that folder. This is in my Colaberry class, JRP session, git class demo. Okay, so this is my folder right now. So I'm just navigating to that folder. Right now this folder is empty. I don't have anything. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to bring down the repository from this GitHub central place. So to be able to do that, you have multiple options. One, you can download this. Other option is you can clone this. So clone means create a copy. Take the copy from the source source control. So now here I can write a command says git clone, and then I can paste the link that I, oops, sorry. So I need to, I don't think I copied. So here I can copy this and then here paste that. Okay. So this is going to be the link. Before that, I need to say git clone. So git clone is going to bring down all my repository code into this directory. This one. Okay, so if I now hit this command, you will see in the back end the folder that I have, it should be getting the contents from the repository. Okay, so let me run that. So it says cloning into repository, and it says it only takes few seconds, and it says how many objects and everything it pulled down. Okay, now if I move this window over and I go to this repository, and you will see the same type of thing that you have in the website, it brought over everything. So you have DWETL demo, that's a folder, and then that folder is empty, and then you have the class documentation, create table production document, getting started with GitHub, news text document, etc., etc. Okay, so now we know we just got the latest copy from the repository. Now we need to make some changes, right? So we said we want to make some change. Now let's say we make some changes to this create table production document. So this is a SQL file. So I'm going to open this file. Okay, so I'm going to go to my SQL Server Management Studio. We're going to make this as related to the SQL Server platform. That way you can relate it because you work on SQL Server. You are familiar with the environment and everything. Okay, so now I need to probably start the environment to be able to run SQL Server in the machine. Have an open SQL Server in this computer for a while. So 1 second while I'm pulling over that window.
Have GitHub open on my computer, so can I connect with you to see what you're doing? Like I say, how do I connect with you to see whatever you are doing?
How
all
do
those
you
things that you're
connect,
doing.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
How
sure.
can I link up with you so I can?
Yeah. So all you need to do is go to the repository, go to the git bash. Do you have git bash? If you go to your search button and search for git, does it show any of this tool?
See it. I'm not download. Yes, I have them. Yeah.
Go
I have
open
Git.
this
I have
git
Git
bash.
bash.
So
Okay.
open that git bash, then you will see it is it will look like that.
Yeah, I have it. It's open. Yeah.
Okay. Next thing you need to know is the folder. Go to your C drive and create a folder somewhere that's where you want to copy the code. Then I'll tell you what is next. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
by the time I'll just make sure I'm able to connect to my SQL server. Then I'm going to open that SQL file. Yeah, good. At least you were trying. At least I should be able to set up yours following these steps. Okay, so here Git. This is the folder. This is where I pull down everything. This is the SQL file I want to open. All right. So what I'm going to do is, it has a lot of things, right? So I'm just going to add something here in this document. Probably I'm just going to go to the, I'm just going to add one more create view as, let's say, create view, and the name, we have to give a name. Let's say get product data. Okay, I'm just giving it a name as, and then let's say select star from, let's see if I have any table that I can use. Dot DVO dot product. I see there's a product sales. Okay, let's see. All right, so this view is created. So if I say select star from this view, okay. So I need to make sure I'm on the right database, otherwise, but PW get this. Okay, I'm just going to create this again. Okay, I created in the wrong database before, but now I can say view get product data. It found that now I can see this is getting data from my view. Okay, so this is a new, I can add some comment. Created this view for the class demo to store in the repository, GitHub repository, if that makes sense. Okay, now this is, I'm going to save it. If I save this, it's going to save over here, right? You see, this is showing me a red sign. The reason it is showing me red sign is because it is telling me I have this change I made into this file, which is not synced with the repository that I have. That means I need to sync this from my source control to my local directory. So this is in my local directory. As soon as I sync this, it will be green again. Okay, so whoever is following, how far you are?
I created the folder into my C drive, and I'm just waiting for the next step, whatever you want me to do, so
Okay.
I can.
So in this, if you see this window, for example, it will probably say your name and then something like that.
Yes. said my name, the name of the laptop, and then
Yeah.
yes.
And then what you need to do is change directory. You have to run a command called cd. And then did you create the folder in C drive?
Yes, I did.
And then you can say C colon, just colon like that, and you can put enter.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's going to take you to the C drive. If you do ls, for example, ls and enter, it will show you all the folders that you have in the C drive. Did you do anything?
Give me just a second.
L and S, lowercase, no space or anything, enter. So ls is just the list. You are just seeing what are the things in there, okay? But you need to actually go to the folder that you have created. So we can go and run that cd command again. Okay, so what we can do is, while we are trying that, so we can go ahead and finish my steps, and then I can look into your screen, and that way you can pull down all the things that I have done, okay? So just bear with me for a second, we'll do it. So now you will see what I'm doing here is I added this file, right? This made some changes and it showed in red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a command called git status, and it's going to tell me what exactly is happening. So you will see it says this file was modified. If I add a new file, for example, I said right click, new, and I'm just going to create a text document, said test file. And then if I go back to the git command line interface again, sorry, and I say git status, and it will tell me this is a new file, untracked file. This is a new file that I have created, okay? Now, to be able to push all these changes to the repository, I need to do one more thing. I have to initiate this as a local repository that is going to recognize this is my, I'm just trying to connect this with the GitHub, okay? So we have to say git init. So usually you can do it at the beginning when you create the folder. First time you can just do it, but you can also do in between, no issues. Now what I'm going to do is, I need to, what I did so far, let me go back to the documents. First thing is, pull the latest from the repo. Step 2, make changes as needed. 3, add the changes in the local repo. Step 4, commit the changes. 5, pull the latest again to make sure nobody else says, and I'll explain this point because this is very important. Make sure nobody else says, make sure you are not overwriting somebody else's change. Step 6, push the change. Step 7, merge your code to the repo, main branch. Okay, here's one more thing. It's optional step, but you can do here. 6A is create a pull request for the reviewer. Okay, so now we're going to go by the steps. First thing is I already already had a folder created, so I got the latest pull from the repo. I made the changes in this file, right? This I created a few lines here, and then I need to add the changes to the local repository. So I'm going back to this. I'll just keep that in the back and also move this on the side so that we can see both of the things together. Next step is going to be adding to the repository. So what I need to do is there's a command called, and I'll add this command also in the document. So you can say git add space dash uppercase A. So if I run this git add space dash capital A is going to add all the files to my local repository, local memory, to be able to push it to the repository. Now if I say git status again, so git status usually will give you what is happening in your folder. So if there is any untracked file, if you have added something. So here now you can see this color has changed. That means Git is treating them, these are ready to be pushed to the main repository. So now if I say, well, I want to commit this change. So what I can do is I can say, so every time you're going to commit something, you need to make sure you're writing a commit message. Okay. So there's a command called git commit, and then you can say dash A space dash M, and you are adding the commit message. So you're going to say added a view in the production document SQL file and added a test txt file. So this is just open free text document comments. You can write any comment if you want. Now I'm going to commit this. Now then you have this. It's going to say added view to the production SQL file, added text, create mode. This is going to give you a number, commit number. So this is your commit number. Okay. So now if you say next step we have is pull the latest again to make sure you are not overriding somebody else's. So think about scenarios where you have 3 other developers working in the same repository. Now, if you do not pull their changes, because right now if I say push, it's going to take only the change that you have in your local repository and it's going to override their changes. So you have to make sure to check if there is any changes happened in between by somebody else in the main repository. For example, the store product that you are creating or the view, if somebody else created something else in this file also. So you have to make sure you are pulling their changes before you can push. So this is like one of the best practices you need to do. So git pull origin main. So this is basically the command that you need to run. So it's going to check your main repository and it's going to say if there is any changes needs to be done or anything has happened. So it says already up to date. That means my local branch, whatever is over there in the main repository in the source control, it is up to date from the changes. That means nobody has made any changes in between. Now I can say git push. If I do a git push, it's going to show where this is going, right? It's going to push the code to my repository in the GitHub. So if you just wait for a little bit and you can see if the push is done. Sometimes it might ask you to verify the authentication, but if it is in your local computer, you're just using your laptop, it will be just one-time setup. So I have already set it up, my credential, username and password. It's not asking it. So now if I go back to the repository, and if I go to these branches, and you will probably see updated 2 minutes ago, main branch. So I'm going to just go to the main branch. And you will see 3 minutes ago, I have made some changes in this file. Here you see 3 minutes ago. Now what I did actually, I directly pushed to the main branch, right? So what if I was here, I have few more other branches. So I have develop branch, I have feature demo, I have master. What if I was using some other branches? So I want to, now that's a different concept, but I don't want to complicate this thing. But to just keep it simple, if you go to the next step is push the changes and merge your code. So usually in the actual organization, this merging will be done by somebody else. But what I did is I just simply pushed it from the repository to keep it simple. Okay. So now if you want to pull it down, the changes that I made, what you have to do is basically follow these steps. First step is going to be downloading your, make sure you may not need the profile to be able to pull it down, but you will need the Git to be installed, and then create a folder where you want to pull it down, and then follow the same other steps. Now the commands that I used, I'm just going to before I go to the next step, is command used. First command is git clone, and then I provided the repository the URL, right? So this is where the URL was there. And then second command that I used is git add is to add the untracked files. Then I ran a command called git commit. Sorry, I did this one, git add a. I did git commit a m, which is, and then your commit message. And then what I did is git pull origin main, which is, this is the command. Origin is the remote repository, which is in the GitHub account, and main is the main branch. Okay. And then once I saw there is no mismatches, everything is up to date. And then I said git push. So this will push your local changes to the GitHub repo. This will pull the latest from the repo to make sure there was no changes by someone else. Okay. And then these are pretty straightforward. And this is to be able to clone from the repo for the first time. Okay. This is what you need to do. All right. I know this is a lot, but I tried to simplify it as much as possible. Now I can see if anyone wants to share your screen and try to replicate what I have done. We have 10 minutes. I can help you to see if you were able to clone it down.
Yes, I will share my screen.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have to.
You got to allow us to share our screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Who is sharing it?
Yes, I'm sharing. Can you see?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I've created a local folder called GitHub, and that's where I got stuck.
That's in your C drive?
In my C drive, yes.
Okay, can you do an ls and enter?
LS enter.
Yeah, do you see your folder here?
It should be in documents.
Okay, so you have to go to the document. So can you do cd documents?
CD.
Just put tab, it will find if it is the same name. Shift, sorry, the tab, right? Document, DO. But do you have the document folder here? I don't see, where is the document folder?
Like right here,
Okay, go to your
like
C drive.
documents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hold on, go back to your,
My folder
yeah,
explorer, file
yes,
explorer.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And if you go to your this PC and C drive,
This PC, C drive.
and can you go to your document folder?
Mm,
Not there, right? So usually document folder is not here. Usually it is in the just in the documents itself, right? It's not under C drive, right? So you can create a folder
Okay.
here.
Let me go back. Right here.
Yeah, you can do anywhere inside users or here as well. That's fine. You can,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And now you can provide a name. Yes.
Okay.
So now if you go to your command line again in your,
Yeah.
yes. Now you can go to CD and you will see the GitHub. Just write
Yes.
GI and then put tab, it will find it.
GI.
Tab.
Tab.
In your keyboard tab, didn't find it. Okay, can you do ls again?
LS.
Do you see GitHub right there? Yeah, do CD.
Yeah.
And GitHub.
Enter.
Enter. Here.
Okay.
So you are
there.
inside, right? Yeah. So now you need to go to the URL I provided. Yes. Go there.
Right.
And go to
Okay.
code.
Code.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Copy.
copy this. Yes.
Okay.
And go there.
Oh Lord. No.
Right. And write down
Paste.
git clone.
Git clone.
Yeah.
Space.
Now space and then paste it.
Paste it. Stop pasting.
Right click.
Okay, I get it. Right click, paste.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Now hit enter.
Enter.
Now you can see it's in your folder. Now go back to the folder. And you will see it
Open
inside
it.
your GitHub. Yep.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now you can play around with the documents and stuff that I have added. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else tried this far?
Excuse me, Abdullah, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
What if you've one has mistakenly overwritten someone else's code where you failed to pull before push? Can this process be rolled back?
Yes, you can always see the commits, previous commits, right? So that's the part of this, the whole thing of managing the version controls, right? So that's the whole thing of using this version control, right? So you can see all the commits that has been made to this branch, right? 12 hours ago, 12 minutes ago, and all this from the inception when I have created this, right? And it has individual numbers. So if somebody has messed up something in this commit, I can always go back to this commit. So that means your code is never lost. It's always there. I can go to this commit and I can see what was the code that given time. What was the change? For example, I added this new file that time, right? I can see my source, browse the file. What was the change? What was my code in that given time? So here, when you see this, you don't see the changes that I made 3 minutes ago. So you can always go back to the previous commits. Here you can see I had total 9 changes over the time in this, and then these are the different versions over the time. So if you want, you can always go back to this version 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago, 3 days ago, or 3 minutes ago. So that's the whole purpose. Now, the thing that we have to usually that you have to do is in this step, this 6A over here. So for now, I was just using my local, this is a simple demo version, but when you're going to be in the organization, there will be something that you have to do something called pull request. So you're going to create a pull request. You won't be able to directly push it to the main branch. So you have to create a feature branch, and then you have to create a pull request, and that has to be approved by somebody, and then can be merged to the main branch in the repository. Okay. So this part, usually if you are in the organization, in a company, managed, but will be managed by somebody else, to answer your question.
Please, can we get a copy of this note?
Absolutely. So let me add this to the repository, and then you can pull it down again.
Okay.
All right. So I'll add this class document. Let me save this. Class demo. Class notes. Saving this. Now if I go my Git, I can say Git status, and it will show me this one file, class notes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the same step. Git add. You can always go to the previous commands by pressing up and down arrow. I'm going to do a commit. I'm going to say edit class notes. And then I'm going to say I added this, I committed this. I'm just going to make sure everything is up to date. Main. So I actually want to show one thing. I'm going to push it. Git push. Now, if you do a clone again, you will see it is coming, but you don't have to do a clone. What you can do is you can run this command. I'm going to give it to you. So first thing you need to do git init, git space init, git init. Now, if I go to the code, and here you will see I just did this, added a class note 1 minute ago. Were you able to do a git init?
No,
What does it say?
I didn't try.
Okay, yeah, you have to, because if you want to see this change, you need to pull it from the main branch. Okay, so you need to run this command called git pull origin main. So here, this is the command, git pull origin main.
Then I
So
just press enter.
yeah, if you see it shows did not find main, then you have to run this command called git init. Then it will recognize this is a repository. Did it do anything?
Okay. It says initialized
Yeah. So
empty
now
Git repository.
right. So you need to say git space init, the command I sent in the chat window.
No, I already says Git init. Then I need to do git pull origin main.
Yes. You want to share your screen?
Yes. Give me a moment.
Mhm.
That's not coming up. Yeah. Okay. Can you see?
Yes.
Let me go the way down.
Yeah, I can see your screen. Git pull initialize empty git repository. Okay. Yeah, let's do this again and let's see what it says.
Okay. Right now, I've not done
Git
anything.
pull origin. So after that git, you need to do a pull.
It's pull. Git pull origin
Yeah.
main.
Yeah. Enter.
Enter. Okay. I think I know what is wrong. Now from the model repository. Okay, after the cloning of those folders
Mhm.
into my local um directory, what was I supposed to do next?
What one thing you can do is you can actually just go to the folder and go one step up, go to the GitHub, that page. So because you need to do one thing. So here you see
Yeah.
you are inside that, you need to go to inside the DWTL demo basically. So go to the git bash again.
Okay.
Yeah, so here what you did is you are in the GitHub folder. When you pull down the main branch, you have a
Yeah.
folder created inside that GitHub again. So what you need to do is you have to go to the CD and DW, that folder that you have, because when you go
Okay.
to the
I get it.
right, so you have the
Right.
folder. So you have to, in the command line, you also have to go to that folder. So no, don't do
Right.
anything.
No.
Go to the
WPT document.
git bash again. Do CD space DW and put tab. It will find that
So
DW, and then you just do tab.
okay, no problem.
Tab
Well,
didn't.
enter.
No.
Huh?
CD, and then if you do a tab, it doesn't find the folder for you. CD
No.
space DW.
Maybe it's not taking that.
Okay.
Let me just write it.
Yeah, you can write down.
No, I'll get it. AW demo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, go inside.
Okay.
Then you do the git pull origin. So
Yeah.
you can do the up arrow button. It will find the previously executed commands.
Origin name.
Hit enter. So now you can see it pulled down the new file, classnotes.txt, that has 98 lines. So if you go to the folder now, your
So
file explorer.
a quick question from you. Why did we not use this method of pulling the folders or the files from the main the first time instead of using clone? Why couldn't we just use this to just pull it down?
So the clone is basically when you do for the first time. Okay, so it creates a connection between your local computer with GitHub repository. So you need to create, you have to clone it for the first time. And next time what you are doing, you are just making sure you are managing the link. You are keeping it updated with the main repository. So
Okay.
first time if you try to run that command git pull origin, it will not find that because your computer does not know what is main, right? But when you did a git clone, it kept that in the memory that you have a remote repository that you are treating as a main. So if you Go to the when you did a git clone, it has an HTTP, that has a website link, right?
Yes.
So that's how your computer knew that you have to go there. This is an open source, right? You are getting into the internet and trying to download something, right? And then you said you initiated a repository, Git repository in this folder. That means a link was created from your computer to the GitHub page, and then
Yeah.
next time you are just maintaining this relationship.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. Thank you so much.
All right. And now if you go to the file explorer, you will see that file
Yeah,
has been.
the class notes is there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. That's all I had for you guys.